organizations, obtain audit reports, or conduct annual reviews when applicable. In addition, OIG found that oversight personnel were maintaining key documentation in unofficial award files that included personal computer drives, shared drives, or bureau-specific systems, which is contrary to department policy that mandates the use of SAMs as the official award file. OIG determined that a primary reason for the deficiencies identified is that the department has not required the use of a key oversight function within SAMs to manage post-award activities. Specifically, the SAMs post-award activities PAA function is a control mechanism for post-award activities to assist both recipients and oversight personnel in award management and monitoring. Although department policy requires the use of SAMs for awards management, the use of the PAA function within SAMs is optional and therefore not being consistently used by oversight personnel. In addition, OIG noted instances in which the department's federal assistance oversight policies and procedures were not clear. For example, OIG found that policy related to GOR review of award recipients' financial reports was not clear, and the policy was also not explicit about who is responsible for ensuring that annual reviews are conducted for awards with a period of performance exceeding 12 months. Moreover, the department needs a communication strategy to ensure that GOs and GORs are aware of oversight requirements and understand oversight responsibilities. Until these deficiencies are corrected, the department will not have reasonable assurance that awards are being administered in accordance with requirements, nor will it be able to affirm that the awards are achieving expected program goals and objectives. AUD-CGI-22-26, what OIG audited from FY 2018 through FY 2020, the Department of State reported approximately $358 million in active grants and cooperative agreements to for-profit organizations in the State Assistance Management System, SAMS. In 2013, the department mandated the use of SAMs. According to the department, SAMS is its online federal financial assistance management system built to unify federal assistance processes and provide greater transparency, accountability, and reporting capabilities to bureaus and posts. The Office of Inspector General, OIG, conducted this audit to determine whether the department managed and monitored selected grants and cooperative agreements to for-profit organizations in accordance with applicable federal requirements, department policies and guidance, and award terms and conditions. To perform the audit, OIG reviewed 9 selected awards to for-profit organizations across 4 department bureaus, which were active in SAMs between FY 2018 and FY 2020. What OIG recommends: OIG made 11 recommendations to improve internal controls related to the oversight of grants and cooperative agreements. On the basis of the Bureau of Administration's response to a draft of this report, OIG considers all 11 recommendations resolved, pending further action. A synopsis of management's response to the recommendations offered and OIG's reply follow each recommendation in the audit results section of this report. The Bureau of Administration's response to a draft of this report is reprinted in its entirety in Appendix B. Unclassified. Unclassified contents objective: 1. Background. 1. Federal assistance awards. 2. For-profit organizations. 1. Award oversight responsibilities. 2. Audit results. 5. Finding A. Selected bureaus did not consistently manage and monitor awards. 5. Recommendations. 21. Appendix A. Purpose, scope, and methodology. 23. Data reliability. 23. Work related to internal control. 24. Sampling methodology. 25. Prior Office of Inspector General reports. 26. Appendix B. Bureau of Administration response. 29. Abbreviations. 33. OIG audit team members. 34. Unclassified. Unclassified objective: the Office of Inspector General, OIG, conducted this audit to determine whether the Department of State managed and monitored selected grants and cooperative agreements to for-profit organizations in accordance with applicable federal requirements, department policies and guidance, and the award terms and conditions. Background: OIG consistently cites the department's oversight of federal assistance as a major management challenge. One, in a 2020 capping report, OIG noted that it had issued 51 reports from FY 2017 through FY 2019 that identified systemic weaknesses related to the department's oversight of federal assistance awards, demonstrating that the department continues to have serious, recurring, and systemic weaknesses in this area. Federal assistance awards to for-profit organizations from FY 2018 through FY 2020, the department reported 439 active grants, 3 and cooperative agreements for totaling approximately $358 million, which were awarded by 16 bureaus to 267 for-profit organizations, both foreign and domestic. These grant and cooperative agreement actions ranged from $175 to $67.6 million. The grants and cooperative agreements were awarded for various programs, including public diplomacy, weapons abatement, addressing child sex trafficking, civil society support, enhancing education and communication capacity, access to an uncensored internet, access to justice, peacekeeping operations, and human rights protections. As detailed in Table 1, OIG selected 9 awards, 5 to for-profit organizations from 4 bureaus for testing: 6 Bureau of Political Military Affairs, PM, Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs, NEA, Bureau of Counterterrorism and Countering Violent Extremism, CT, and Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, DRL. 1 OIG Inspector General Statement on the Department of State's Major Management and Performance Challenges Fiscal Year 2021. 6 OIG-EX-22-01, November 2021. 2 OIG Information Report: Systemic weaknesses related to the administration and oversight of Department of State contracts and federal assistance from FY 2017 to FY 2019. AUD-CGI-20-44, September 2020. 3. A grant is an assistance instrument used when the principal purpose is the transfer of money, property, or services to accomplish a public purpose of support or stimulation authorized by federal statute, when it is anticipated that there will be no substantial involvement between the agency and the grantee during performance. 4. A cooperative agreement is an assistance instrument that has the same principal purpose as a grant. However, unlike a grant, it is anticipated that there will be substantial involvement between the agency and the award recipient during performance of the cooperative agreement. 5. Due to sensitivity concerns with some of the awards, OIG is not including the name of the organizations or the award numbers in this report. Accordingly, OIG will refer to recipients as A through I and awards as 1 through 9. 6. Appendix A provides details of the sample selection methodology. AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 1. Unclassified Table 1. Federal Assistance Awards to for-profit organizations selected for review: number, award description, type of award, cooperative agreement, cooperative agreement, cooperative agreement, cooperative agreement, grant, cooperative agreement, grant, award value $119,796,873, $60,550,000, $31,374,994, $23,885,664, $2,631, $12,504,679, $4,085,460, $3,124,551, $2,400,000 PM1 Conventional Weapons Destruction, 2 Building legitimacy of local councils, 3 Civil society support, 4 Supporting moderate education, 5 Promoting innovative entrepreneurship, 6 Enhancing airport security, 7 Access to uncensored internet, 8 Enhancing access to justice, 9 Human rights protections, and the ACTDRL $259,724,852. Source: generated by OIG using data obtained from the State Assistance Management System. Award Oversight Responsibilities Bureau of Administration, Office of the Procurement Executive. The Bureau of Administration, Office of the Procurement Executive, OPE, leads the full range of federal assistance management services for the department. OPE's Federal Assistance Division is responsible for developing, issuing, and maintaining operational guidance, procedures, and policy for all department federal assistance programs, e.g., grants and cooperative agreements domestically and abroad. OPE's Federal Assistance Division also develops, implements, and manages the department's federal assistance training requirements for grants management professionals, such as grants officers, GO, and grants officer representatives, GOR. The division collaborates with grant-making bureaus, program offices, and the Foreign Service Institute 7 to build knowledge and skills to support the department's federal assistance program. 7. The Foreign Service Institute is the primary training institution for the department. The Foreign Service Institute provides classroom courses and distance learning courses. AUD-CGI-22-26 to Unclassified. Unclassified Grants Officer and Grants Officer Representative. According to the Department's Federal Assistance Directive, FAD, 8 GOs and GORs are charged with primary oversight and monitoring responsibilities for federal assistance awards. GOs are authorized to award, amend, and terminate federal assistance agreements. The GO must designate the GOR for all federal assistance awards exceeding $100,000.9. A GOR assists the GO to ensure that the department exercises prudent management and oversight of the federal assistance award through programmatic and financial monitoring and evaluating the award recipient's performance. The GO and GOR are responsible for monitoring the financial capability, stability, and funds management of the recipient, as well as the actual expenditures related to the award activity. 10. Monitoring all department assistance awards is required and is performed to ensure that recipients' programmatic performance and financial management are adequate and that they accomplish intended activities, goals, and objectives. 11. The FAD outlines monitoring requirements, including risk assessments, monitoring plans, performance progress reports, PPR, and federal financial reports, FFR, and annual reviews. Risk assessments bureaus, offices, and posts are required to conduct a risk assessment for all awards. Because some awards are deemed riskier than others, the level of award monitoring should be based on the risk assessment. Prior to award, GOs are responsible for verifying that the required risk assessment has been completed. Post-award risk assessments must be performed annually for awards with a period of performance exceeding 12 months. 12. Monitoring plans. Every award must have a written monitoring plan that is appropriate to the award and tied to the risk assessment. Additionally, the plan should be tied to the scope of the program or project and show the performance metrics for the scheduled activities and the frequency and types of monitoring mechanisms to be used. For awards with a period of performance longer than 1 year, at a minimum, an annual review of the monitoring plan must be completed to ensure any new risks and/or changes in scope, schedule, or costs are accounted for, documented, and monitored. 13. Performance progress reports. Award recipients are required to report on their award's performance progress with the frequency required by the terms and conditions of the federal award. The GO or GOR must document the official federal award file. In the 8th, the FAD establishes internal guidance, policies, and procedures for all domestic and overseas bureaus, offices, and posts within the department for administering federal assistance. 9 FAD, October 2020, at 80. 10 IBID, at 127. 11 IBID, at 126. 12 IBID, at 62. 13 IBID, at 79. AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 3. Unclassified State Assistance Management System, SAMS, to indicate that he or she has reviewed the report. The GOR must provide a written assessment of the report. 14. Federal Financial Reports award recipients are required to report on their award's financial status as often as required by the terms and conditions of the federal award, but no less frequently than annually and not more frequently than quarterly except in unusual circumstances. Recipients must use the standard form SF 425 Federal Financial Report. 15. The GO or GOR must document in the official federal award file that he or she has reviewed and approved the SF 425 by signing the form, adding a note to the official federal award file in SAMS, or reviewing and approving in the Payment Management System, PMS. 16. When PMS is used, the GO or GOR must review the SF 425 electronically in PMS. 17. Annual reviews awards with a period of performance in excess of 12 months require annual reviews. Documentation of the annual review must be uploaded to the official federal award file in SAMS. The following should be reviewed: OPPRs compared to the activities scheduled in the award provisions to determine if the award's goal and objectives are being met. OFFRs, SF 425 and SF 270, request for advance or reimbursement compared to the approved budget and scheduled activities to determine the appropriateness of payment requests. Monitoring plans to ensure that any changes in activities, schedule, or costs are documented and monitored. If no changes are needed, the official federal award file should be amended to indicate that risk assessments for any changes to the level of risk for the award. If no revisions are needed, the official federal award file should be amended to indicate that the status of obligations and expenditures in the department's financial systems, especially if more than one obligation has been processed for an award. The status of payments in PMS to confirm proper charges. 18. State Assistance Management System. In 2013, the department mandated the use of SAMS. SAMS is the department's online federal financial assistance management system to unify federal assistance processes and provide greater transparency, accountability, and reporting capabilities to bureaus and posts. According to the FAD, SAMS is the end-to-end electronic grants management system implemented that resolved the department's significant deficiency in the management of federal financial 14 IBID at 128, 15 IBID at 127. 16 PMS is a centralized federal award payment and cash management system. The department requires PMS to be the sole electronic payment method for domestically awarded federal financial assistance to U.S.-based organizations in which the recipient is expected to receive multiple payments. 17 FAD, October 2020, at 127. 18 IBID, at 131, AUD-CGA-22-26, Unclassified 4. Unclassified Assistance. 19. The FAD also states that all federal awards must be managed using SAMS and that SAMS is the official federal award file for all awards. 20. Among other features intended to assist both recipients and oversight personnel in award management and monitoring, SAMS includes a post-award activities PAA function. The PAA function serves as a placeholder where documentation can be uploaded and reviewed. These placeholders for documentation are available for post-award tasks, such as review of PPRs and FFRs, site visits, or other monitoring activities. In addition, PAA is designed to create workflows for submitting, reviewing, and monitoring post-award activities among the GO, GOR, and award recipient, including automated reminder email notifications to complete PAA tasks. PAA users can also view a list of tasks that are completed or overdue for each award, and once a PAA is completed, all attached documents are automatically moved to the award file and become read-only. Audit results finding selected bureaus did not consistently manage and monitor awards. GOs and GORs did not always manage and monitor selected awards in accordance with federal requirements, department policies and guidance, and award terms and conditions. Specifically, OIG found that GOs and GORs did not consistently perform and document performance and financial monitoring, completed annual updates to risk assessments and monitoring plans, obtain audit reports, or conduct annual reviews when applicable. In addition, OIG found that oversight personnel were maintaining key documentation in unofficial award files that included personal computer drives, shared drives, or bureau-specific systems, which is contrary to department policy that mandates the use of SAMs as the official award file. OIG determined that a primary reason for the deficiencies identified is that the department had not required the use of a key oversight function within SAMs to manage post-award activities. Specifically, the SAM's PAA function is a control mechanism for post-award activities to assist both recipients and oversight personnel in award management and monitoring. PAA is designed to create workflows for submitting, reviewing, and monitoring post-award activities among the GO, GOR, and award recipient, including automated reminder email notifications to complete PAA tasks. Although department policy requires the use of SAMs for award management, the use of the PAA function within SAMs is optional. Furthermore, the department does not provide comprehensive training on the PAA function. Therefore, it is not being consistently used by oversight personnel. In addition, OPE had not established effective, alternative controls to monitor federal assistance oversight. In addition, some GOs and GORs stated that they have had difficulty using SAMs due to technical issues and were reluctant to use it. OIG also noted instances in which the department's federal assistance 19 IPID at 17
Oh, when does it stop? Let's just select some more. This one. That's how you do it. Gonna select this text. So we're not finished. Stop it. 24. You gotta get there.
Finding 8, selected bureaus did not consistently manage and monitor awards. GOs and GORs did not always manage and monitor selected awards in accordance with federal requirements, department policies and guidance, and award terms and conditions. Specifically, OIG found that GOs and GORs did not consistently perform and document performance and financial monitoring, completed annual updates to risk assessments and monitoring plans, obtain audit reports, or conduct annual reviews when applicable. In addition, OIG found that oversight personnel were maintaining key documentation in unofficial award files that included personal computer drives, shared drives, or bureau-specific systems, which is contrary to department policy that mandates the use of SAMs as the official award file. OIG determined that a primary reason for the deficiencies identified is that the department had not required the use of a key oversight function within SAMs to manage post-award activities. Specifically, the SAM's PAA function is a control mechanism for post-award activities to assist both recipients and oversight personnel in award management and monitoring. PAA is designed to create workflows for submitting, reviewing, and monitoring post-award activities among the GO, GOR, and award recipient, including automated reminder email notifications to complete PAA tasks. Although department policy requires the use of SAMs for award management, the use of the PAA function within SAMs is optional. Furthermore, The department does not provide comprehensive training on the PAA function. Therefore, it is not being consistently used by oversight personnel. In addition, OPE had not established effective, alternative controls to monitor federal assistance oversight. In addition, some GOs and GORs stated that they have had difficulty using SAMS due to technical issues and were reluctant to use it. OIG also noted instances in which the Department's Federal Assistance 19 IBID at 17, 20 IBID at 1718, AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 5. Unclassified oversight policies and procedures were not clear. Moreover, the department needs a communication strategy to ensure that GOs and GORs are aware of oversight requirements and understand oversight responsibilities. Until these deficiencies are corrected, the department will not have reasonable assurance that awards are being administered in accordance with requirements, nor will it be able to affirm that the awards are achieving expected program goals and objectives. GOs and GORs did not always manage and monitor awards as required. OIG found that GOs and GORs did not always manage and monitor awards in accordance with requirements. For example, key post-award activities, i.e., reviewing performance and financial reports, completing annual updates to risk assessments and monitoring plans, obtaining audit reports, and conducting annual reviews of the awards were not always conducted to provide reasonable assurance that assistance funds were being used as intended and in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. In addition, OIG found that oversight personnel were maintaining key documentation in unofficial award files that included personal computer drives, shared drives, or bureau-specific systems. Not only are these practices contrary to department policy that requires the use of SAMS as the official award file, but they are also inefficient and do not meet the goals of transparency and accountability required when awarding federal assistance funds. Performance monitoring. The FAD states that the GOR is responsible for providing the GO with a written assessment, GOR report of the award recipient's performance based on a review of the PPR within 30 days of the receipt of the report. 21. Furthermore, the FAD states that the GO or GOR must document the required review of the PPR in the official federal award files, which is in SAMS. 22. OIG found that GORs did not always prepare GOR reports as required. Specifically, for the 9 awards tested, GORs prepared 19% of 108 required GOR reports. Furthermore, GOs and GORs did not consistently document their review of PPRs in SAMS. Specifically, OIG found documentation of PPR reviews in SAMS 26% of the time. Table 2 summarizes the deficiencies found for the selected awards related to PPRs. 21 IBID at 80, 22 IBID at 128, AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 6. Table 2, Summary of Performance Monitoring for Selected Awards. Award 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number of PPRs 15, 17, 17, 9, 6, 11, 8, 13, 12. Number of GOR reports within 30 days. Percent 0, 0, 1, 6, 2, 12, 1, 11, 5, 83, D11, 100, 0, 0, E0, 0, F0, 0. G number of documented GO or GOR reviews, percent 8, 53, 16, 94, 16, 94, 3, 33, 6, 100, 11, 100, 0, 0, 1, 8, 0, 0. Evidence of GO or GOR review in SAMS, percent B8, 53, C0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 33, C5, 83, 11, 100, 0, 0, 1, 8, 0, 0. Unclassified PMNACTDRL total 108, 20, 19, 61, 56, 28, 26. Evidence of review included GOR reports, SAMS notes, or any other evidence provided by GOs and GORs that indicated the PPRs were reviewed. B. Evidence of review constituted GOR reports, SAM's notes, or any other documentation in SAM's that indicated the PPRs were reviewed. C. Evidence was uploaded to SAM's as late as 13 months after the 30-day benchmark. DOIG received a 6th GOR report for the award. However, it was not dated, therefore, OIG could not confirm that it was prepared in a timely manner. None of the 6 DRL reports were dated or signed, therefore, OIG could not confirm that they were prepared in a timely manner or signed by the designated GOR. F. None of the 11 DRL reports were dated or signed, therefore, OIG could not confirm that they were prepared in a timely manner or signed by the designated GOR. G. None of the 12 DRL reports were dated or signed, therefore, OIG could not confirm that they were prepared in a timely manner or signed by the designated GOR. Source: generated by OIG using information obtained from SAM's official award files, award oversight personnel, and the results of audit testing. Financial monitoring. The FAD states that the GO and GOR are responsible for monitoring the financial capability, stability, and funds management of the recipient and the actual expenditures of the award activity. 23. Furthermore, the FAD states that the GO or GOR must document the review and approval of the FFR by signing the form, adding a note to the official federal award file and SAM's 23 IBID at 127, AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 7. Unclassified or reviewing and approving the FFR and PMS within 30 days of receipt of the report. 24. When PMS is used, the GO or GOR must review the FFR electronically in PMS. 25. OIG found that GOs or GORs did not always approve FFRs as required. 26. Specifically, for the 9 awards tested, OIG found that 46% of 108 FFRs had been approved by the GO. In addition, only one of the GORs for 11% of 9 selected awards reviewed FFRs quarterly as required. OIG also noted that 47% FFRs were approved by default in PMS due to the lack of timely review by the GO or GOR. Table 3 summarizes the deficiencies found for the selected awards related to FFRs. Table 3, summary of financial monitoring for selected awards. Award 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Number of FFRs 15, 17, 16, 10, 6, 11, 8, 13, 12. Number of GOR FFR review percent A 53 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 11 100 0 0 0 0 0 0. Number of GO FFR approval percent 1 7 11 65 11 69 8 86 106 55 3 38 1 8 3 25. Number of PMS default approval percent 14 93 6 35 2 13 2 20. Not applicable like 2 18 5 63 11 85 9 75. Number of approved FFRs in SAMs percent 0 0 17 100. Evidence of review included GOR reports, SAM's notes, or any other evidence provided by GOs and GORs that indicated the FFRs were reviewed. B. Evidence was uploaded to SAM's as late as 46 months after the 30-day benchmark. C. Use of PMS is not required for foreign-based organizations. Source: generated by OIG using information obtained from SAM's official award files, award oversight personnel, and the results of audit testing. 24 FAD, October 2020, at 123. Regarding approvals in PMS, the FAD states that bureaus must have strong internal control procedures established to ensure that the FFR has been reviewed or accepted in PMS without allowing the PMS system to accept by default. 25 FAD, October 2020, at 127. 26 OIG assessed SAMs to determine whether documentation was available, and OIG also requested GOs and GORs provide additional documentation that was maintained outside of SAMs, e.g., evidence that the GO or GOR approved reports in PMS, AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 8. Unclassified risk assessments and monitoring plans. The FAD requires GOs or GORs to, at a minimum, perform an annual risk assessment 27 and complete an annual review of the monitoring plan to ensure that any new risks or changes in scope, schedule, or costs are accounted for, documented, and monitored for awards with a period of performance of more than 1 year. 28. The annual risk assessment must be documented, and monitoring plans must be modified to reflect any changes to the level of risk for the agreement. 29. OIG found that for 22% of 9 awards tested, the GO and GOR had updated risk assessments and monitoring plans annually, as required. Because updates to the risk assessments and monitoring plans were not always performed timely, GOs and GORs effectively reduced the number of times the process was performed during the life of the award. For example, the GO and GOR should have performed 3 risk assessment and monitoring plan updates for one selected award during its 4-year performance period. However, the second update to the risk assessment and monitoring plan was performed almost 1.5 years after the prior update, and the third update was not conducted because the award had only 8 months remaining in its period of performance. In another instance, the GO and GOR for a selected award updated the risk assessment only once during the 4-year performance period, and the monitoring plan was updated once, 10 months before the award was completed. Audit reports. The FAD requires for-profit organizations that expend $750,000 or more 30 in federal funds in the organization's fiscal year, whether as a prime or a subrecipient, to perform a single or program-specific audit annually. The FAD states that the notice of funding opportunity must alert potential applicants to this requirement. 31. OIG found that the notice of funding opportunity for 2 of 3 selected for-profit awards did not alert potential recipients of the audit requirement. Additionally, the requirement was not stipulated in the specific award provisions of 2 of 3 award agreements. Furthermore, the award files did not show that the GO evaluated whether organizations met the threshold requirement prior to award. Specifically, risk assessments and monitoring plans for the 2 awards did not address efforts to obtain and review audit reports. The initial and first updated risk assessment and the monitoring plans for the third award mentioned the audit requirement. However, the current GO did not obtain audit reports. 27 FAD, October 2020, at 62, 28 IBID at 79, 29 IBID at 62, 30 IBID at 55. The FAD states that when the foreign recipient organization expends less than $750,000 in its fiscal year, the Bureau, Office, or Post must, as part of its annual review of risk, assess whether a financial and/or program audit should be performed to verify financial accountability. 31 IBID at 55. AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 9. Unclassified. Although OIG acknowledges that 2 Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, paragraph 200, subpart F, audit requirements, does not apply to foreign organizations, the department has instituted in the FAD more stringent audit requirements for foreign for-profit organizations to help detect financial management issues and to identify costs that may be disallowed. Therefore, department oversight personnel should have required applicable foreign for-profit organizations to perform a single or program-specific audit annually, and the GO or GOR should have obtained and reviewed the audit reports to inform updates to risk assessments and monitoring plans. Annual reviews. The FAD requires annual reviews for awards with a period of performance in excess of 12 months. In addition, documentation of the annual review must be uploaded to the official federal award file, which is SAMS.32 for the 9 awards reviewed. OIG did not find evidence within SAMs that the GOs or GORs had conducted required annual reviews for any of the awards. GOs and GORs did not use SAMs consistently. OIG found that OPE did not have effective policies and guidance regarding the use of SAMs to ensure the completeness, accessibility, retention, and review of award files. Although the use of SAMs is mandated by the department and is the official award file, OIG found that GOs and GORs for the 9 selected awards were not using SAMs consistently or timely to perform and document award oversight. GOs and GORs were typically using SAMs as an electronic folder and not as a management system that provided greater transparency, accountability, and reporting capabilities. In addition, oversight personnel were maintaining key documentation in unofficial award files that included personal computer drives, shared drives, or bureau-specific systems. These practices do not align with department policy, are inefficient, and do not meet the goals of transparency and accountability required when awarding federal assistance funds. As a result, it was necessary for OIG to make numerous requests for information to oversight personnel to determine if the oversight had occurred and obtain any existing supporting documentation not documented or uploaded in SAMs. Furthermore, GOs and GORs were not consistently using the SAMs PAA function, a mechanism that creates an oversight workflow between the GO and GOR. In fact, some bureaus use their own internal applications to track award oversight, rather than SAMs. Specifically, NEA and DRL provided OIG with documentation from Bureau-developed systems, Assistance Coordination 32 IBID at 131, AUT-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 10. Unclassified Performance Reporting System 33 and Performance Assessment Tool 34 to show evidence of review of PPRs. However, the audit team was not always able to determine from these reports whether the designated GOR or GO reviewed them. In addition, when evidence of PPR and FFR reviews were uploaded to the SAM's official award file, it was often many months after the respective quarters. Moreover, documentation did not contain sufficient details to ascertain whether the oversight occurred when required or was performed by the designated oversight personnel. OIG therefore had to base its analysis on dates generated by SAMs when the documents were batch uploaded to the award files. It is equally important to note that because selected bureaus were not using the full functionality of SAMs, namely the PAA function, to document post-award oversight activities consistently, OPE and Bureau management could not effectively monitor GO and GOR award oversight due to the lack of visibility of the oversight process. The Government Accountability Office, GAO, states that management should monitor internal controls as part of the normal course of operations. Ongoing monitoring should be built into the entity's operations, performed continually, and responsive to change. 35 OIG concludes that the consistent use of the SAM's PAA function would enable management to more readily ascertain whether required post-award oversight activities are being performed, documented, and maintained in SAMs as the official award file. However, because the use of the PAA function is not required by department policy, SAMs cannot be relied upon as a monitoring tool to assess whether GOs and GORs are fulfilling their roles and responsibilities concerning post-award oversight. In addition to not requiring the use of the PAA function in SAMs, OIG found that OPE did not have an effective alternative to the PAA function to monitor federal assistance oversight and ensure that post-award activities were being performed when required and, if not performed, then detected and corrected. Moreover, the selected bureaus did not have processes to routinely identify inadequate oversight of awards. In addition, OIG did not find evidence within the tested award files to indicate that Bureau management and GOs reviewed the status of the award files to ensure that they included required documents until after OIG initiated this audit. Furthermore, OPE had not provided training on the full use of the PAA function. OIG reviewed SAM's post-award training material and met with SAM's training personnel and found that SAM's training covers only the use of the PAA function between the award recipient and Department 33 NEA's standard operating procedures related to grants management state that the Assistance Coordination Performance Reporting System is an online database unique to NEAAC, Office of Assistance Coordination. ACPRS enables recipients to submit results monitoring plans, work plans, and performance reporting information. It also serves as a digital filing cabinet for NEAAC personnel to store and organize award documentation. 34 DRL's standard operating procedures related to grants management state that the performance assessment tool is an internal database that is used to draft PO grant review of quarterly reports, upload quarterly report follow-up, track standardized data, F indicators, portfolio indicators, if applicable, and update program narratives for each program. While this additional program information may be found in the performance assessment tool, the official award file continues to be SAM's domestic 35 Government Accountability Office Standards for Internal Control in the Federal Government. GAO-14-704G, September 2014, paragraph 16.04 and 16.05, Internal Control System Monitoring, AUD-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 11. Unclassified oversight personnel and not its use internally between the GO and GOR. Training Department oversight personnel in the use of the full PAA function, should the full PAA function be adopted and implemented, would provide OPE and Bureau management visibility over the GO and GOR workflow. Visibility over the workflow would ensure that management can ascertain whether required award oversight is occurring and identify bureaus or offices that would most benefit from grant management reviews and assistance. However, a SAM's training official stated that, unless the use of the PAA function is required, oversight personnel will not be motivated to use it even though training could be expanded to cover the full use of the PAA function. Technical issues with SAM's OIG found that some GOs and GORs had difficulty using SAMs due to technical issues. For example, a GO experienced problems documenting reviews and team members needed to reapprove prior quarter reports. This GO documented problems he and his team were having with SAMs in an award file. Specifically, the GO stated, given the persistent problems since implementation of the SAM's domestic reporting system, we've requested offline reports in addition to SAM's reporting until the system's errors can be corrected and the system can function to accurately capture recipients' reports and Department of State review. 36 Another GO stated that SAM's is not user-friendly, and he had experienced numerous glitches. The GO also stated that award recipients had experienced challenges uploading reporting documentation into SAM's. A GOR identified problems getting a SAM's account because they were located overseas. The GOR stated that the issue had been ongoing since September 2020. In addition, another GOR stated that he did not have a SAM's account due to access issues. A third GOR stated that SAM's could not track information that was needed, such as team members, award themes, sub-awards, indicators, or reviews. As a result, due to continual issues with SAM's, some bureaus continued to use bureau-specific reporting modules, send assessments via email, or store documentation on shared drives. Oversight policies and procedures were not clear, and the department needs a communication strategy. OIG also found instances in which the department's federal assistance oversight policies and procedures were not clear. Moreover, the department needs a communication strategy to ensure that GOs and GORs are aware of and understand oversight responsibilities. According to GAO 37, management should implement control activities through policies. The policies should document control activity design, implementation, and operating effectiveness. In addition, organizations can further define policies through day-to-day procedures. For example, OIG found that there was a lack of clear FAD guidance related to reviewing FFRs. Although the FAD states that a GOR is to receive and review required recipient reports, progress, financial, or other, and ensure they are timely and complete, 38 it only explicitly 36 NEA Go Memorandum to file for Award Number 5, May 14, 2020. 37 GAO-14-704G, September 2014. 38 FAD, October 2020, at 80. AUT-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 12. Unclassified requires that GORs provide the GO with a written assessment of the recipient's performance based on the review of program progress report within 30 days of receipt of the report. 39 The FAD also states, at the direction of the GO, the GOR should document the official federal award file to indicate that the GOR reviewed and approved the program progress report and/or the federal financial report within 30 days of receipt of the reports. 40, however, goes for 6 of the 9 awards selected did not provide direction related to FFR reviews in the GOR designation memoranda, which contributed to GORs not viewing FFR review as a responsibility. In addition, the FAD is not specific about who is responsible for ensuring that annual reviews are conducted for those awards with a period of performance exceeding 12 months. Specifically, the FAD assigns responsibility for conducting the annual review to the Federal Assistance Team. 41 OIG also found that GOs were unaware of the FAD audit requirement that applied to foreign for-profit organizations. One GO stated that 2 CFR 242 subpart F does not apply to foreign for-profits and would not acknowledge the audit requirement instituted in the FAD. OIG reviewed the department's regulation under CFR, Title II, Subtitle B, Chapter 6, Part 600, the Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost Principles, and Audit Requirements for Federal Awards, Paragraph 600.101, Applicability, which was consistent with 2 CFR 200, but did not indicate that there was a specific FAD audit requirement that applied to foreign for-profit organizations. GAO guidance also states that management communicates to personnel the policies and procedures so that personnel can implement the control activities for their assigned responsibilities. However, OIG found that GOs and GORs did not always understand their responsibilities included in policies and procedures. For example, one GO stated that she only reviewed 1 or 2 FFRs a quarter from her assigned portfolio or an FFR if there was a technical question because it was difficult to review all reports. In addition, GORs for 6 of 9 awards stated that they believed reviewing the FFRs was a GO responsibility rather than a GOR responsibility. Furthermore, the GOs and GORs for 8 of the 9 selected awards stated that they found annual reviews redundant since they performed quarterly GOR reviews or performed desk or site reviews of the recipient in lieu of annual reviews of the SAMS award file. Moreover, GOs were unaware of the FAD audit requirement that applied to foreign for-profit organizations. 39 IBID, 40 IBID, 41 FAD, October 2020, at 3. According to the FAD, the Federal Assistance Team comprises all the participants in the federal award process, beginning with the development of the department's strategic plan and ending with closeout of the award. 42 CFR, Title II, Subtitle 8, Chapter 2, Part 200, Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost Principles, and Audit Requirements for Federal Awards. Paragraph 200.501, Audit Requirements. AUT-CGI-22-26, Unclassified 13. Unclassified improving award oversight is paramount in a capping report related to federal assistance issued in September 2020. 43 OIG acknowledged the department's efforts to implement SAMS, but underscored that full implementation and use of SAMS was needed to further assist the department with improving award oversight, accountability, and transparency of federal assistance administration. In that report, OIG emphasized that a concerted effort must be made to encourage procurement and oversight officials to fully use SAMs, in addition to assessing award oversight policies and procedures. The findings in this report further support the need for department management to establish additional controls to ensure that oversight personnel are consistently using SAMs. The department requires the use of SAMs to manage awards and has designated SAMs as the official federal award file. 44. However, the use of PAA function within SAMs is presented as an optional tool to manage awards and document award oversight. Specifically, the FAD states, in SAMs, the GO and GOR can use post-award and monitoring task functionality as an efficient way to track activities, completion dates, and overdue tasks. 45. However, should the department require the use of the PAA function, it would enable department management to more readily and timely ascertain whether required award oversight is occurring and award documentation is properly maintained. Currently, the department does not have an effective alternative to the PAA function to monitor federal assistance oversight and ensure that post-award activities are being performed when required and, if not performed, then detected and corrected. Furthermore, OPE could more efficiently identify 46 bureaus or offices that would most benefit from grant management reviews, assistance, and training. 47. OIG therefore concludes that the department would benefit from requiring the full use of the PAA function and training personnel in its use. In addition, the inconsistent use of SAMs by the GOs and GORs does not achieve the intended purpose of automating and centralizing the 43 AUD-CGI-20-44, September 2020, 44 FAD, October 2020, at 1718, 45 IBID at 126, 46 FAD, October 2020, at 16. The FAD states that OPE consults with bureaus to determine which offices and posts would most benefit from OPE reviews during the upcoming fiscal year. The criteria for selecting a post or bureau for review is based on various factors that include OIG and GAO reports highlighting potential weaknesses, dollar amount of federal awards processed, volume of federal awards processed, and the public visibility of a post's or office's federal award activities. Specific requests for reviews from bureaus' offices posts are also taken into consideration. 47 IBID. The FAD states that OPE conducts grant management reviews of domestic bureaus' offices to strengthen the department's oversight of its federal programs. Suggestions and observations from the grant management reviews and grant review evaluation assistance and trainings report help to inform the department's risk assessment guidance and training. Each review specifically evaluates compliance with risk assessment requirements and focuses on documentation contained in the official federal award file, suggested areas for improvement, as well as noting best practices. AUD-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 14. Unclassified federal assistance management process or providing greater transparency, accountability, and reporting capabilities. Furthermore, it does not achieve the end-to-end electronic grants management system implemented to resolve the department's significant deficiency in managing federal financial assistance. Moreover, until these deficiencies are corrected, the department will not have reasonable assurance that awards are being administered in accordance with requirements, nor will it be able to affirm that the awards are achieving expected program goals and objectives. OIG is therefore making the following recommendations to improve internal controls related to the oversight of grants and cooperative agreements. Recommendation 1. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration revise the Federal Assistance Directive to require grants officers, GO, and grants officer representatives, GOR, to fully use the State Assistance Management System domestic post-award activities function to upload and review documentation for all post-award tasks, such as the review of performance progress reports and federal financial reports, GOR reports, annual reviews, other monitoring activities, and to document workflows for submitting, reviewing, and monitoring post-award activities among the GOR, and award recipient. Management response. The Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it had identified an alternative course of action to address the recommendation. The Bureau of Administration stated that only SAM's Domestic, which serves grant-making bureaus and offices that are based domestically, has post-award monitoring functionality. Therefore, OPE will revise the FAD to require GOs and GORs to fully use SAM's Domestic's PAA function to upload and review documentation for all post-award tasks. OIG reply, because the PAA function is only available in SAM's Domestic and all the awards reviewed for this audit were in SAM's Domestic, OIG revised the recommendation made in a draft of this report to clarify that it referred to the PAA function in SAM's Domestic. According to OPE officials, although SAM's Overseas has a similar monitoring tasks function for post-award tasks, it does not have the same features as the SAM's Domestic PAA function. In addition, Bureau of Administration officials stated that they would analyze the feasibility of rolling out the PAA function to SAM's Overseas in the future. Therefore, because of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the revised recommendation and planned actions, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has revised the FAD to require GOs and GORs to fully use SAM's Domestic's PAA function to upload and review documentation for all post-award tasks and to document workflows for submitting, reviewing, and monitoring post-award activities among the GOR, and award recipient. Recommendation 2. Concurrent with the implementation of Recommendation 1, OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration require bureaus to perform quarterly reviews of the State Assistance Management System Domestic's post-award activities function reports. The reviews should verify that grants officers and grants officer AUD-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 15. Unclassified representatives have complied with oversight requirements such as the review of performance progress reports and federal financial reports, GOR reports, annual reviews, and other monitoring activities. Management response. The Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it had identified an alternative course of action to address the recommendation. The Bureau of Administration stated that only SAM's Domestic, which serves grant-making bureaus and offices that are based domestically, has post-award monitoring functionality. Therefore, OPE will revise the FAD to require domestic-based bureaus to perform quarterly reviews of SAM's Domestic's PAA function reports. OIG reply, because the PAA function is only available in SAM's Domestic, OIG revised the recommendation made in a draft of this report to clarify that it referred to the PAA function in SAM's Domestic. Because of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the revised recommendation and planned actions, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has required bureaus to perform quarterly reviews of SAM's Domestic's PAA function reports to verify that GOs and GORs have complied with oversight requirements. Recommendation 3. Concurrent with the implementation of Recommendation 1, OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration require bureaus to designate an official to review the State Assistance Management System's post-award activities function reports to verify that grants officers and grants officer representatives comply with oversight requirements. Management response. The Bureau of Administration concurred with the recommendation. OIG reply. On the basis of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has required bureaus to designate an official to review the SAM's PAA function reports to verify that GOs and GORs comply with oversight requirements. Recommendation 4. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration modify the State Assistance Management System user training to include guidance on documenting the grants officer and grants officer representative workflows within the State Assistance Management System using the post-award activities function. Management response: the Bureau of Administration concurred with the recommendation. AUD-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 16. Unclassified OIG reply: on the basis of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has modified the SAMS user training to include guidance on documenting the GO and GOR workflows within SAMS using the PAA function. Recommendation 5. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration conduct a survey of grants officers and grants officer representatives to identify technical issues related to the use of and suggested improvements for the State Assistance Management System domestic post-award activities function. Management response: the Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it would like this recommendation revised to focus on SAM's domestics PAA function. OIG reply: in response to the Bureau of Administration's suggestion, OIG revised the recommendation made in a draft of this report. Specifically, OIG revised the recommendation, as suggested, to focus on the SAM's domestics PAA function. Because of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the revised recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has conducted a survey of GOs and GORs to identify technical issues related to the use of and suggested improvements for SAM's domestics PAA function. Recommendation 6. Following implementation of Recommendation 5, OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration analyze the results of the survey to identify the reasons hindering the use of State Assistance Management System domestics post-award activities function, including technical issues that need to be addressed and, if appropriate, develop and implement a corrective action plan to increase the use of the State Assistance Management System domestics post-award activities function. Management response: the Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it would like this recommendation revised to focus on SAM's domestics PAA function. OIG reply: in response to the Bureau of Administration's suggestion, OIG revised the recommendation offered in a draft of this report to focus exclusively on SAM's domestics PAA function. Because of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the revised recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has analyzed the results of the survey to identify the reasons hindering the use of SAM's domestics PAA function, including technical issues that need to be addressed, and, if appropriate, develop and implement a corrective action plan to increase the use of SAM's domestics PAA function. AUD-CGI-22-26 Unclassified 17. Unclassified Recommendation 7. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration revise the Federal Assistance Directive to clearly articulate that the grants officer representative, GOR, must provide the grants officer with a written assessment, GOR report of the recipient's performance based on a review of the program progress report and federal financial report within 30 days of receipt of the reports. Management response: the Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it had identified an alternative course of action to address the recommendation. Because program reports and financial reports are not always on the same schedule, OPE will revise the FAD to require GORs to provide the GO with a written assessment, GOR report of the recipient's performance based on a review of the PPR and the most recent FFR within 30 days of receipt of the reports. OIG reply: OIG accepts the Bureau of Administration's alternative course of action and considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has revised the FAD to require the GOR to provide the GO with a written assessment, GOR report of the recipient's performance based on a review of the PPR and the most recent FFR within 30 days of receipt of the reports. Recommendation 8. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration develop and implement a communications strategy that provides grants officer representatives with specific and detailed requirements for financial monitoring to improve their understanding of and compliance with those requirements. This communications strategy should underscore the importance of reviewing the federal financial report to ensure that the amount of funds expended is commensurate with the work accomplished on the award. Management response. The Bureau of Administration concurred with the recommendation. OIG reply. On the basis of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recom.
You're right about here anyway. 16.
OIG reply. On the basis of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has modified the SAMS user training to include guidance on documenting the GO and GOR workflows within SAMS using the PAA function. Recommendation 5. OIG recommends that the Bureau of Administration conduct a survey of grants officers and grants officer representatives to identify technical issues related to the use of and suggested improvements for the State Assistance Management System Domestic Post-Award Activities function. Management response. The Bureau of Administration concurred with the intent of the recommendation, stating that it would like this recommendation revised to focus on SAM's domestic's PAA function. OIG reply. In response to the Bureau of Administration's suggestion, OIG revised the recommendation made in a draft of this report. Specifically, OIG revised the recommendation, as suggested, to focus on the SAM's domestic's PAA function. Because of the Bureau of Administration's concurrence with the revised recommendation, OIG considers this recommendation resolved, pending further action. This recommendation will be closed when OIG receives documentation demonstrating that the Bureau of Administration has conducted a survey of GOs and GORs to it.
Okay, let's see something else.
Here, so I think this kid should be locked up. So we've gotten away from that. So we're trying to use more data-driven, best practice approaches to making decisions at those points, right? So, and that's been a lot of the legislative things. One of the goals is to have better outcomes for these children. So, and juvenile justice agrees with that. So when we're talking nationally throughout the United States, 15% of the youth are Black. 35% of the youth refer to juvenile courts. 35% are Black, but the actual community is 15. So that's twice as likely as a Black child to be referred to the juvenile justice system. 42% of the commitments in this, not just the state, nationally committed are youth of color, Black youth, 42% when you're talking 15%. So when I'm talking, there's been an over-reliance of commitments to facilities. That's why we do the harbor and some of these other things that divert kids out of the system to try to get them to the point where we don't get to that decision process where they're having to be placed in a facility. And as we know, youth's brains don't fully develop between the ages of 21 to 24. So, and then when you compound it by the influence of alcohol, trauma, physical abuse, and poverty, that increases some of the likelihood that they will engage in this type of activity. And most youth will just grow out of it naturally on their own. Minor delinquency is considered normal behavior for children. I'm talking minor delinquency. I'm not talking, felonies and things like that. I'm talking small, as a child, you get in a fist fight with your friend. Now would be considered an affray, right? When we were young, it was not, right? We didn't get arrested for an affray. So now we arrest people. So we've recognized a lot of that. We've worked with the school district and the DA. And that's why the harbor is in place, is for some of this. Now, the truly violent, where you attack a teacher, you attack a staff, you attack another student, that is not what I'm talking about. Those would be violent charges. So, and we're always trying to keep the community safety in mind. So that's one of our priorities, to keep everyone safe. Family engagement and cognitive behavioral approaches and programs are shown statistically to be more effective with juveniles. So in incentivizing positive behavior, we're pretty good as a system as creating punishments, but we don't reward positive behavior. And any teacher, psychologist, or any program that's very productive is going to have some positive rewards for kids. After, there's going to be consequences for negative behaviors, but what do you do afterwards? You try to get some positive rewards, recognitions. It's not always money, right? It can be a certificate. You'd be surprised with some of these kids, when you put a certificate in their hand, how excited they are because it's about completing something they're not used to completing. So the mission of the harbor is to be responsive to the well-being of youth, families, and victims by providing meaningful services to improve connectedness to the community through academic achievement, reducing truancy, and providing a safe place for guidance. So the services provided are, there's many, but the main ones are tutoring, truancy prevention, mentoring, counseling, food, clothing assistance, and distance learning. So if you're talking about a child, bless you. If you're talking about a child that can't see the chalkboard and he sits in the back of the classroom, we're not in chalkboard anymore, I'm old. So when I was in school, it was a chalkboard. So now, kid sits in the back because he can't see the board. But as a teacher, you don't know that, and you'll start labeling the kid, the kid sitting in the back because he doesn't want to learn. But really, the kid can't afford glasses oftentimes, or he's got abscessed tooth because they don't have access to medical care. So those are some of the things that the harbor works on, is getting the family the resources to deal with some of these generational issues when you're talking poverty with our youth, right? And it's for the whole family. It's just not for the kid. So 70% of the total cases for DGJS, not the ones at the harbor, but 70% were nonviolent. Okay. So the majority of our cases that probation deals with are nonviolent. Okay. And Bridget's going to have some really good data on the top 10 offenses that she refers or files on. So, and that's because of the harbor has taken those smaller level cases, so we can focus more on the high end community risk, or the kid has self-harming, or, self-harming behavior can just be the fact that you're committing crimes, right? So we can focus on that more than dealing with a kid that stole some shoes from Walmart because he doesn't have shoes for school. So we can work at some of those. So it's a collaboration of many partners. I'm not going to list them all because it's on your slide, but it's Juvenile Justice Department, Family Services, the DA, Eagle Quest, and a litany of others, and other law enforcement agencies that will take the kids and drop them off at the harbor instead of bringing them to our intake where they'd be formally processed and charged. So if they don't complete, I know that's a big thing. People are like, oh, they just don't disappear. And we're not like, oh, they're done. So if they don't complete, they're given 60 days. If they don't complete it, they're either we're actually working on a new process. So they're referred back to intake. So we just met yesterday, and what we're going to do is we're going to divert those kids to diversion court. So we're working on a process. So a lot of times it's family means you don't have transportation. Your family can't take off of work, because if you take off of work, you're going to lose the $200 you make. And if you don't get that $200, you're going to be kicked out of your house. You can't feed your children. So we're trying to be more understanding. We've done a lot more with technology. I guess the one thing you can say about COVID that's been a blessing to us in the juvenile justice system is actually being able to hold meetings live. So some of the families can actually attend counseling and things of that nature, instead of having to get on the bus, take their 4 or 5 kids with them, miss work. So now we can do it more on, conveniently for families, so they don't have to lose this. So the harbor opened in October of 2016. So we've had 20,050 referrals. 90% of them have not been sent back to probation intake. That means 2,198 were sent to intake. But out of those 2,198, don't be like, oh, they all, got incarcerated or they got, something like that. No, a lot of them will actually go through an informal process through our intake to get them the counseling, the services and stuff. Like I said, sometimes the parents just need. Sometimes it's just a formality. Like one of the reasons we're doing diversion court is to sit in front of a judge. Oftentimes, just sitting in front of a judge makes it seem a little bit more serious. I need to do it right. So that's part of the things with this too. So, and the 90% success rate, meaning they're not going to probation. Okay, so we also run another program called the Truancy Prevention Outreach Program. It's another diversion program to help the school district with chronic truancy. Obviously, for historical purposes, truancy actually used to be they could be charged with it. Kids were held in detention.
There's no way they're doing
Laws have been
IEP
passed since then to keep them out. So, but we all know that truancy leads to being expelled. Being expelled means to making less money, and that's the school to prison pipeline, right? So, what we've done is we've created this new program to try to get these kids re-engaged in school, so they don't drop out, so they can graduate, so they can not be part of that pipeline, right? So the program launched in October of 2020. There was 27 pilot schools. Since its inception, there's been 226 schools are now participating. 6,968 referrals.
7,000.
It's similar services offered by the Harbor as well, except you add Harbor does IEPs too, which is an individualized education program, which a school district does for kids that struggle with have some learning disabilities or some mental health issues, right? So they'll get some specialized education. So oftentimes kids don't know they need that, or parents don't know that resources even exist. So once you get that kid in there, they can get the help they need to get back on track in school. So the major collaborations between Boys Town, Department of Family Service, Social Service, and the school district. So we actually started seeing kids in January of 2021. COVID has obviously been an issue for us. I'm sure these numbers would be higher, but the school was not in session for quite some time, as we all know. So when you're looking at the success so far, and this has only been a little over a year. So, I mean, this isn't like, oh, this is we're looking at the data, but when you're looking at after 60% of the interventions, kids attended school 6.5 more days for each quarter. That means they're not getting kicked out, right? And that's the whole point.
They have no data that
out
demonstrates what
of
they're
the
doing.
77%, the top 10 of those attended school 27 more days. So when you're talking education, when you miss, you get behind, right? So, and if you don't go, eventually you're going to get kicked out. So it's been very successful so far. If any of you would like to take a tour of the harbor, I have my email and my office number on the slide. So you feel free and call me, and I'll arrange a tour of either one of those programs if you'd like. And just as a comment for the GSOs in Clark County, we have a little bit more resources here in Clark County. So we have group homes. So we're not having those issues because our providers are still providing services. So, and then in the future,
really,
in the next few months, we're going to be opening up a girls program, because that was mentioned earlier by the state, is we're looking for girls programs. So the Department of Juvenile Justice is opening a halfway house to try to divert some of these girls from the Kelly TD Center, which is the only facility that houses girls. So if there's any other questions, thank you for your time.
226 schools.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there questions from members of the committee? Senator Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for being here. As you know, I've been a proponent of the harbor, brought a bill last session to try to expand it into the schools. Didn't get a hearing, but it's an important effort. Can you tell me how the harbor is doing under the current, in terms of number of people that they're able to help and those that are turned away because there aren't resources available?
No, what you guys are doing is criminal.
Michael Wheelahan for the record. Thank you for the question, Senator Pickard. So we don't turn anyone away. So we've expanded the harbor. Originally it was at our juvenile detention center, and now we have 5. And we're getting ready to expand it to a mobile harbor. So it'll be like a RV bus. We're working on that right now, and then we'll be able to take it to the rural sections of Clark County, because that's where we're kind of failing in our services, is reaching out to Mawapa, Laughlin, some of those other places. And then when we're having issues in the school, we can take that harbor when they're having severe issues, and maybe we can go there and try to get some of these kids services. A lot of times the behaviors because of things that are going on in the home. So for us, that mobile harbor is going to be a huge step for us.
All right, thank you for that. And how are you able to meet that need or meet the demand? How are you able to expand if we don't have additional funds? Are we getting outside sources? Are there contributions being made? How are we meeting that demand?
The city of Henderson and North Las Vegas have allowed us to use buildings like in kind donations, so to speak. So we've had those, and then the county has pretty much funded the majority of it since the legislation didn't pass. But funding is a big issue for us right now for the harbors.
And if you could just put your name on the record. Sorry.
I apologize, Michael Whelan.
All right, thank you.
Other questions from members here? Questions from members in Carson City? I'm not seeing any, or any questions from our members online. All right, I think that concludes our questions for you. Thank you so much for your presentation. That concludes agenda item number 6. Yes, and so we will move on to agenda item number 7, presentations from the district attorney's offices. And I will let you guys, actually, looks like we have Washoe and Clark with us. I see Ms. Duffy here from Clark in Clark County. And is somebody from Washoe County up in Carson City? Yes, and somebody from Carson City. Somebody from Washoe County is in Carson City. I will let you guys tell us how you're going to present.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Morning, Chair Scheibel. See how confusing it is? This is Bridget Duffy for the record. We did a co-slide, and so it'll flow with Clark County going first and then Washoe County picking up in the middle of the presentation. Good morning, Shelley.
Good morning. Good morning, Bridget. Shelley Scott, Chief Deputy District Attorney. I'll be appearing for the District Attorney's Office in Washoe County.
Chair Scheibel, thank you, and members of the committee. I'm just going to go ahead and start. I have already introduced myself. Our first slide is really an overview of the juvenile delinquency court process. And Chief Scott made this slide, and I realized I need to put it at the front because I think it's important for the community to understand how cases even get to the district attorney's office. I've learned a lot through 20 some years. And one thing I learned this year is that the community doesn't really understand that the DA's office doesn't just take cases and file cases. They come to us through a process. And in juvenile justice, it's even different than criminal justice in that in both Washoe and in Clark, the cases start with the juvenile probation department. And I'll make sure Chief Scott is able to talk about her county. But in Clark County, if a law enforcement officer cites or arrests a child, that all of those cases are funneled through to the probation department. By statute, the probation department has the right to divert misdemeanors completely and totally away from the district attorney's eye or view or determination at all. And that we use in Clark, we use diversionary services, we use probation intake, or which you've heard that phrase a few times now this morning, or probation officers for an informal process. On gross misdemeanors or felonies, the probation department are, for the most part in Clark, the first to see those. We do have direct submissions from law enforcement agencies to the DA's office if it's not a probable cause arrest. So they would first be seen by the probation department, and then by statute, they would come to the DA's office unless we determine to reduce them and refer them back to a diversionary or an informal process. So I got a lot of calls as school violence was increasing about, what is the DA's office doing with these fight charges, and batteries are misdemeanors. So I had to explain to a lot of the public that I don't even have a case, because those misdemeanor battery cases go through a probation office referral and are diverted from my view at all. So that's how it works in Clark. And Chief Scott, if you want to add anything to that before I go on to the rest of the PowerPoint.
Good morning again, Chief Deputy District Attorney Shelley Scott for Washoe County. Our court process is very similar as that described by Chief Duffy. And you've already heard from Ms. Flores, the Director of Juvenile Services. They end up diverting away from prosecution probably close to half of the referrals they receive will be diverted and never even come to my office. Most of those will be misdemeanors because they're not required by statute to send them to us, but the remaining part that can be deferred or referred back to probation can come after a DA review and a decision not to pursue formal charges in the delinquency system, but agree that this child is best suited to be diverted from the juvenile system and handled informally with juvenile probation. So approximately half of the referrals that probation receives are handled informally, and approximately a third of what we receive fall into that category that are referred back to probation. Thank you.
Bridget Duffy again for the record. So an overview of the Clark County District Attorney's Office. So as most of you know, I run the juvenile division, and it is made up of 2 divisions inside of it, delinquency and child dependency. I have a total of 58 employees, 29 are deputy district attorneys. I have 9 dedicated to the delinquency team and 20 dedicated to the child dependency team. I am supported by 1 law clerk, 1 investigator, 2 process servers, 1 victim advocate for 9 courtrooms, 13 secretaries, 4 part-time hourlies, and 5 various office assistants. Next. So I put some stats because I know everybody is always interested to see our trends in filing cases. And I always preface this for the last, I don't know, 7 years I've been doing legislation. My office still does not have a case management system for the juvenile division. So while these stats are gathered with our partnership through juvenile probation, so I always want to make sure these are kind of rough stats, I will say. They're fairly point on, but it's confusing. And so I want to make sure that the top part of my slide talks about how this is not unique children. So 1 child, so when I talk about I filed 3,128 petitions, my office in 2021, that's not 3,128 children. That could be 1 child with 5 times through the system. So it's not, so just how we pull statistics, it's difficult to pull down to each child having a petition. So you can see from 2017 to 2021, we've been decreasing in the amount of petitions filed. 2020, you all can star, that was a unique year. But 2021, we had an increase of referrals. However, we had a decrease of filings. In my office only filed 46% of the referrals that we obtained. And that is, I believe, an exact shout out to our diversionary programs. So the harbor came into place in 2016 October, and that was one harbor, and then we expanded to 2, and now we are at 5 by 2020. And so you can see that using that to divert these petitions that are coming to us has been a success at this point. The other interesting stat I know that you all like to see is the certifications filed, and Clark, of course, files the most in the state. In 2021, we have filed 159 petitions to certify youth to the adult system. And of those 159, 48 children were certified to the adult system. Do the next slide. So these are our charges. These are our top 10 offenses that we filed petitions on. So in 2021 only, there could be more than one charge per petition. And I think that's an important point, because it is very rare that the only charge on a petition would be violation of probation or parole. Most of the time, a majority of the time, that would come with a substantive offense. So it would be one of the charges that we would file along with whatever offense that child picked up in the community. We talked a lot about batteries and the fact that they are misdemeanors, and then you'll see that's the second highest offense filed that could be coupled with a violation of probation. The battery by a probationer is considered a felony charge, but the batteries themselves, they're victim crimes. And so if we divert a child to the harbor or divert a child to probation and that child denies the offense and is not going to accept whatever services are being offered, it often then comes back to my office. And since I have a person victim on a charge, then that kind of weighs the decision to end up ultimately filing a petition that gives the subject minor who's denying that they committed the battery, that gives them the opportunity to go before a judge and deny it and have their trial in court. And then it allows the victim to know what occurred in the case. Battery domestic violences have been on the rise since COVID. I know that the harbor is one of their top offenses that they are dealing with. That stress and tension in the homes is increasing. And a lot of times these cases, we're looking at one child with 4, 5, 6 times that they've been through and offered diversionary programs and have not been successful to the point where the family's asking for judicial intervention. These cases we are seeing often have a large mental health component for the perpetrator child on the parent. Lewdness with a child, and I'm going to combine that with our sexual assault. That has also been on the rise since our pandemic shutdowns. So we have that as being one of our top charges, obviously something that we do need court intervention with. And then you'll see our more serious offenses with robberies and firearms. Next. I'm also always proud to talk about our participation in diversionary services. The harbor's been talked about a lot. I'll be happy to answer any questions from my end you have on it later. I also co-chair what is called the School Justice Partnership. That is a collaboration between the Clark County School District, Juvenile Probation, and the District Attorney's Office. It was implemented by MOU in 2018. It was our attempt to stop the school to prison pipeline, as you heard AD Willihan talk about. Kids that are excluded from school are fast tracking their way to prison. So this School Justice Partnership, we worked to determine what school-based acts that were committed should be dealt with as a diversionary or school-based discipline and not sent to the juvenile justice system. So,
oh wow, that's deep. I'm going to stop my share here, because the real deal is that, y'all need to understand what special education does for communication handicapped children and people who are prone to get into fights. And what are you talking about? A positive behavior intervention plan that demonstrates support. And Clark County has just created a separate and unequal placement. This is a dual educational program within a system that doesn't mirror the same system, and it's criminal. Well, I know I've voiced my opinion on this bullshit, but it's criminal and I think it needs to change. I think it needs to stop. Well, I just wanted to share with you some few things, especially how not-for-profit agencies will be held accountable according to the state and according to the outcomes and the lack of maintenance. But until we meet again, y'all, have a great day. And understand that I'm on Wisdom, a program called Wisdom. And then I have this Parent Empowerment Hour on Anchor. And then, of course, my YouTube channel where you are. It's Darlene.